December is almost gone, and I want to talk about some of the tools that we mentioned on the channel. And one of the first ones is this Care So Love. This got a lot of hate, and in this instance, it was very well deserved, because as I was using the Phillips driver to try to work on the hot water heater, this pivot joint fell apart on me, and I don't know where the other piece is. That's very unfortunate. Not sure why that happened, but it is a very cheap tool, and unfortunately, in this case, it's not a very great one. Now, Next Tool makes their own version of this. Maybe that's a little bit better, but I would probably stay away from these, just so you know. Now, one of the next tools that was not as popular this month was this new wrench multi-tool from AliExpress. And I can understand why it's not a plier-based tool. This wrench right here has these awful 5mm bits. They're just in between the popular 1/4 inch or 4mm. They do have a tendency to fall out in the pocket. That's one of the biggest negatives, besides the bit size, is that you can very easily lose these and they will fall out in the pocket. Otherwise, I actually have surprisingly good things to say about this. I use the wrench at work, even though it's a little bit smaller than the tiny wrench that I use, in the opening size it is. I found it fairly useful. The knife seems to be pretty good. The overall construction, besides the bits, doesn't seem to be too bad, but unfortunately the bits sort of sink this multi-tool, in my opinion. Now, one of the tools that I think is one of the best out there in 2024 is this Multiper. It has a really weird name, but this is the Surge Clone. You do get the Damascus blade right here. Someone was asking about this blade, and I don't really know that much about it, except I think they said it's something like 58 layers and 9CR13 or 18 MOV, I forget which, but it is a little bit better than your normal knife blade, and it looks really cool. You do have this hook right here. A lot of the other things are fairly similar to the Surge Clones. Got the 1/4 inch bit driver, and then you do also have this this micro screwdriver that is different. I think this is a really cool tool, sometimes only for about $40 or so on Amazon. One of the best deals, and actually this is one of the most bought tools in December on the channel from Amazon. So it was actually fairly popular. Now, I came out with a couple different mods this month, and a couple of them right here, well, both of them I actually used for work. This one is the Klein mod, and I know not everyone's an electrician. This won't be exciting for everyone, but I do feel like it needs to fill, there needs to be some more multi-tools to fill the niche, that spot for electricians. I tried to sort of give an idea about how you could do that, and I'm sure there are better ways out there, but I thought it was sort of cool, and then I have enjoyed carrying this one with me as well. So both of these are interesting options, although for all intents and purposes, a lot of people will do just as good carrying the SOG PowerPoint or the SOG Power Access. But for some of us, we can't stand not tinkering, trying to innovate, change, make something better. So if you're sort of like that, these are sort of cool little projects that will cost, if you get all the materials really cheap, maybe $100 or just a little bit over. Sort of on a different note, I went to Walmart, and with all the hype about these Ozark Trail knives, this one being in D2 rather steel for $10, I actually bought this one. I have one just hanging up in my workshop, not even open the package, and then I got this knife off of the Christmas knife rack for $5. I think these are both pretty cool knives, pretty neat. Now, also, Wuben sent me this X2 Pro light. I just recently reviewed this a couple days ago. It is a really cool flashlight, and I have enjoyed using this at work. I feel like it fits in that realm where it's not too big, it's not too small. It's almost like Goldilocks. It's about a perfect size for your pocket. Any larger, and it might be almost too large. And now the other Wuben that I have is a fair amount smaller, so it could shrink, but I feel like it's about the perfect size. Tons of options for only about $50. I will try to put a link to this below. Also, I did review this weird tool that I talked about being one of the first multi-tools out there, a copy of one from Roman times. And some of you like this, some of you were not a fan, some of you maybe didn't quite understand what I was trying to say. This is a copy, just to be very clear, this is a copy of something supposedly they unearthed. Some of you had all kinds of ideas about what these implements are for. Remember, this is from Roman times. Some of you declared it wasn't. I'm not the archaeologist that unearthed it. You'll have to take it up with them. But it is a cool piece of multi-tool history. Again, a replica, just to be clear, but even of a time years ago, whether it was Roman times, whether it was 1500s, whenever it was from, it's a pretty cool piece of multi-tool history. Recently just reviewed this mod I did to my Irwin multi-tool. I think it turned out fairly well with a slocking bit driver underneath. And I will be talking about vice grip multi-tools a couple times in the next month. So if you're interested in more info, make sure to stay tuned. Also, I covered some really cheap multi-tools on the market. Sometimes people don't want a Leatherman. Sometimes they don't want the top of the line. Sometimes they want a starter multi-tool. And this Gerber DET copy, even though it is very clearly a copy at around $10, it does offer a fair amount of value. I think some of you mentioned that yours fell apart in your hand and all kinds of awful things. Mine has not done that, but I do not use this every day, so be careful of that. Also, I mentioned another multi-tool that might hold up a little bit better. There are a couple of these for around $10, $10 to $13 on Amazon that might work as a starter multi-tool. Now, as we've talked about that, what about new multi-tools coming out? Well, I'm still waiting on my Zen multi-tool. I'm hoping that will come. Also, I have a Wendler multi-tool that I have pre-ordered, and it has been months and it is still not here. I am really hoping that will come soon. Those are a couple of things I'm looking for. Also, we've got some new tools from Amazon that I will talk about in the future. So hang on. This next year, we'll see what happens.